And every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Tyrus, I was talking about this in the 5, that I kind of like her for being, she's like a retro 70s mom.
Yeah, you like
Everyone looked like her.
Why don't you have dinner with her, Greg?
Tyrus just did something no one saw coming. He called out California's very own PowerPoint queen, Katie Porter. That's right. The guy built like a tank just dove into California's political circus like it's WrestleMania. But why is a wrestling champ suddenly throwing shade at a politician known for her whiteboard takedowns? Did someone forget to invite him to the debate? This showdown of muscle versus markers is about to get interesting.
Don't order the potatoes, Greg.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, there's nothing nice about her. Why do we have to, like, in her defense, I was waiting for the practical, usual woman defense. Whenever someone, why did you do that? Well, they did something to upset me. It was somebody else's fault. There's no accountability, nothing new. So, yeah, you didn't like that, did you, ladies? Because you guys do that stuff. But the worst part about her is that it's Halloween, and she's coming out now.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, hit that like button and subscribe. You know you don't want to miss this one. California politics has always been a circus, but this time, the ringmaster showed up in a power blazer with a glare sharp enough to cut through solar panels. Katie Porter, the self-proclaimed champion of accountability, has somehow turned accountability into a full-blown hostage situation.
Scary. Oh, it's scary. Like, if she jumped out of a dark alley, I would throw you in front of me to get away from her. And she's done this before. She has scared everybody in this audience in our childhood. Remember Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah.
When he was on the road in Texas, Large Marge rolled up. It was that one right there. Kennedy's having the flashback.
I said that the other day on the 5.
Yes.
Just when she thought she was about to dance her way into the governor's mansion, Tyrus jumped into the conversation because apparently the political circus needed a bouncer. It all began innocently enough. The 5 were chatting, sipping coffee, probably debating which California catastrophe to poke fun at next: wildfires, sky-high gas prices, or the vanishing act of affordable rent.
Play that. This is what she's trying to say.
President Biden has said that inflation is the #1 priority for the Biden White House to try to get under control right now. As you're out there in California talking to constituents during this re-election year for Congress, how does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those two issues compare?
Watch this, not compare.
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other.
Watch.
Then someone mentioned Katie Porter, and the vibe instantly switched from light morning chatter to a full-on Halloween special. Suddenly, Tyrus and Greg Gutfeld were analyzing her like 2 over-caffeinated psychiatrists. One joked that she looked like a retro 70s mom, while the other said she had reverse charisma. And that's when America collectively remembered, oh right, politics is basically professional wrestling, just with better lighting.
Hate. You love to hate. Our video of the day comes from that lump of grumpy potatoes, Katie Porter, who wants to be California's next governor. She was recently asked if more damning clips of her might be released, which is like asking Jesse Waters if he's offended any foreigners lately. She refused to say.
Should California voters feel confident that there aren't any more Katie Porter videos out there?
Well, what I know is that I could have done better in those moments. I'm going to be focused on earning their votes and earning their trust.
Tyrus didn't even have to say much to make his point. His face said it all. It was half disbelief, half, I've fought men twice my size for a living and still find this woman more intimidating. Let's be real. Katie Porter doesn't just walk into a room. She storms in like a strict substitute teacher ready to cancel recess for everyone. You can almost hear the chalk squeaking as she launches into another lecture on morality and economics. California doesn't need a governor. It needs a guidance counselor with anger management training. And that's what makes Tyrus calling her out so perfect. It wasn't personal, it was public service. Someone had to remind people that leadership isn't supposed to feel like detention. Greg Gutfeld, never one to pass up a chance for poetic chaos, poured gas on the fire by diagnosing her with reverse charisma. Think about it. Charisma usually makes people like you. Reverse charisma? It does the exact opposite.
Reminds me of
Buick
like my
ball breaker
friend's
from the
mothers
Porkies.
when I was a kid. There's like something very retro about her. But Molly, you know what she has? She has reverse charisma. You know, like when charisma is if you have power and empathy, because people are like Bill Clinton. He had power, but he had empathy, and then he tried to bang you. She has like reverse empathy where she has power, but she lords it over the people that are in her like employment.
And what's so weird about this is she's a politician. And you might think they're cruel and narcissistic, and she's like definitely showing that, but usually they're good at like hiding it.
It's like a human repellent. Porter walks into a diner and suddenly everyone remembers they're late for an appointment. Reverse charisma is when your campaign ad comes on and even your supporters switch to the Weather Channel just to feel happy again. Greg's comment was meant as a joke, but it landed with frightening accuracy because that's exactly what makes Porter so intriguing. She's got all the power, all the credentials, all the righteous fury, and none of the warmth. It's like watching a Hallmark movie directed by Quentin Tarantino. Every line is a confrontation, and every smile feels like a challenge. He didn't need facts or debate points. His remark hit harder than a body slam. There's just something about how accountability never seems to apply to the people who talk about it the most. Porter loves preaching about holding others responsible, but when the tables turn, she whips out the emergency whiteboard to explain why it's actually someone else's fault. It's not politics, it's performance art. Every scandal turns into a pop quiz, and somehow she's always the teacher grading her own paper.
Porter, she ought to just embrace it at this point, because it's all out there. She should just say, look, I throw mashed potatoes at people, I'm a total nightmare, I berate my staff, but I'm gonna work hard for you, the voter, because there's no getting out from this.
What are the chances of Katie Porter actually winning and becoming the governor of California?
If she's the Democratic nominee, because of the way that the registered voters are and what they appear to be showing, it's about 85%, 90% right now.
The irony is priceless. Here's a woman running in a state that preaches diversity of thought, but operates more like a political HOA. One party controls everything, and the only thing scarier than the taxes is the complete lack of opposition. Tyrus nailed that point too. California has turned into the ultimate echo chamber, a place where candidates don't need charisma or fresh ideas. They just have to say equity 3 times and the media appears like Beetlejuice with a microphone. Porter didn't just survive in that environment, she was built for it. There's no need to win hearts when the system already tilts the game in your favor. But then she got too comfortable. That's when the meltdown came. The viral moment where she admitted in her signature tone of unfiltered annoyance that she didn't exactly like people who voted differently. It was the kind of brutal honesty you'd expect from a DMV worker 2 hours past their lunch break. And that's what made Tyrus's roast so effective. It wasn't mean-spirited. It was sharp observational genius. He simply pointed out that Porter doesn't even bother trying to be likable anymore. It's as if she's running on the I dare you to like me platform.
What I do know is that I could have done better in that situation.
But that's not a no. So is there potentially another video that we're going to see?
Nikki, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that video was several years ago, as you know, and I apologize to the staffer. That's super important to me, and will continue to try to hold myself to do better. That's what I can promise.
The more a politician refuses to answer a question.
Somewhere. Her campaign strategist has to be sweating bullets because empathy always polls better than intimidation. But California voters are a unique breed. They claim to want compassion, yet they keep electing people who look like they'd fine you for breathing too loudly. Greg's follow-up made the point even clearer. He compared her to political figures who at least had the decency to fake warmth. Clinton had empathy, Obama had charm, Reagan had a smile, and even Trump had humor. Porter's version of leadership is punishment disguised as policy. She lectures, corrects, interrupts, and dominates, but never truly connects. You could line up 10 California voters and ask how she makes them feel. 9 would say nervous, and the 10th would start apologizing without knowing why. Tyrus joked that she looks like she'd jump out of a dark alley on Halloween, but honestly, that's not even exaggeration. It's practically her campaign branding at this point. If she doesn't land the governor's seat, Spirit Halloween probably has a management position with her name on it.
These examples of Katie Porter's behavior, accusations of blaming staff for giving her COVID, using racist language, covering up sexual harassment, domestic violence against her ex-husband. She was even accused of burning his scalp with potatoes. Ouch. And others saying she just wants fame and power. Gotta be nice to that staff. All accusations at this point, but there seems to be a pattern of alleged physical and verbal abuse.
The nostalgia angle made it even funnier. That whole retro 70s mom comment landed because it's true. Porter looks like the kind of person who enforces bedtime on democracy. She's got that classic PTA authority that says, "I'm not mad, just disappointed." But deep down, you know she's both. You can almost hear a funky 1976 soundtrack playing in the background. Even Kennedy couldn't resist joining in, laughing like she'd just seen a ghost from an old Pee Wee Herman movie. You can practically picture her campaign ad, black and white footage, thunder rumbling, her face appearing in a rearview mirror shouting, "Don't litter, or else." The 5-panel basically turned into a roast session. But beneath all the jokes, they struck a nerve. The deeper truth is that Porter is a product of a one-party system where real competition fades away and entitlement flourishes.
I will say I think that her performance here proves that she's ready for the national stage.
Yes.
She took control of the interview the way she'll take control of our nation's problems. No, I don't believe that, but I do believe that that is what everyone on her staff told her.
Yeah.
I think that she's walking around being like, I nailed this. Because if that is how she acts on camera, when she knows she's being recorded, then how do you think she acts off camera if someone actually criticizes?
That's what makes Tyrus's jab so refreshing. He's not trying to be a policy expert. He's the everyman calling out the absurdity. Watching him dismantle Porter's persona felt like someone finally pointing out that the Emperor's new clothes were paid for with taxpayer money. And Greg, ever the cynic, just kept peeling back the layers. Together, they turned what could have been another dull political debate into a live-action therapy session for everyone exhausted by California's political circus. Their commentary also highlighted something strange about modern progressives. They've completely lost their sense of humor. Somewhere between climate pledges and moral lectures, the ability to laugh disappeared. Porter's like a stand-up comic who mistakes sarcasm for oppression. She doesn't need voters to love her. She just needs them to obey. That's the real punchline Tyrus was aiming at. He wasn't mocking her appearance or fashion. He was calling out the culture that rewards her for being unlikable. It's a system that confuses intimidation with leadership, and California keeps buying the same product expecting different results.
So the campaign manager for Katie Porter allegedly told her, "You looked bad the other night." She said, "You mean the interview?" And he said, "What interview?"
Imagine that dynamic on a national scale. A leader who thinks kindness is weakness and dissent is disobedience. You'd get exactly what the 5 described. Someone with power but no empathy, someone who doesn't inspire people but lectures them, someone who sees voters not as citizens but as students who failed the assignment. That's what made the roast so sharp. It wasn't just comedy, it was social commentary on how cold and mechanical politics has become. And Porter, with all her fiery ambition, walked right into it. Greg's theory could honestly be a college thesis: reverse charisma in American politics. And Tyrus, with that deadpan delivery, perfectly summed up what millions are thinking but too polite to say out loud. Even the Halloween comparison wasn't random, it was spot on. Every election season, Porter pops up with that same eerie energy, ready to haunt boardrooms and drain optimism. You can practically imagine kids dressing up as her for Halloween. "Look, Mom, I'm the spirit of unrealized accountability." Easily the scariest costume on the block.
The fact that things like inflation can happen and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car.
Have an abortion.
Is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed. So I think the fact that we're seeing this jump in expenses.
Am I taking crazy pills?
That we're seeing people having to pay more in the grocery store,
said.
pay more at the pump.
Can
pay more
you stop
for
it? Guys, you
housing.
understand that? She's saying, guys, listen, and this is during Biden, right? She's like, groceries are going to be expensive, so if you're pregnant, that should be a reason for you to kill the baby in your...
And there's the Trump comparison, because of course there is. She clearly wants to capture his unapologetic confidence, but without the charisma that makes it tolerable. When Trump says something outrageous, half the country laughs while the other half yells. When Porter says something outrageous, everyone just quietly closes their laptops. Being bold only works when people actually enjoy watching you do it. Otherwise, it's just televised scolding. That's the difference between entertainers and enforcers. Trump entertains, Porter enforces. One plays to the crowd, the other lectures it. And in 2025, that contrast is more revolutionary than any policy proposal. The best part? Porter will probably double down. She'll call the criticism sexist, brush off the jokes, and schedule yet another town hall to remind everyone how serious she is. That's the cycle. Outrage, denial, PowerPoint.intro.
I cannot stop thinking about Katie Porter. The dumbest thing she can do is what she tried to do in that interview with Julie Watts, where she plasters this miserable, pained, fake smile on her face. Like, I don't want this to get negative. I just want this to be positive because I'm such a good person. I'm a leader. I'm a strong leader.
Meanwhile, California keeps spiraling. Housing is unaffordable. Crime is treated like background noise. And politicians are still bickering over plastic bags. Maybe that's why Tyrus's words landed so hard. He wasn't just roasting Porter. He was calling out the entire circus of California politics. Her campaign promises empathy, but her tone promises detention. And the Five, with their chaotic humor, turn that contradiction into pure comedy gold. The irony is almost poetic. A wrestler and a satirist teaming up to expose the emotional vacuum in modern liberal politics. Because underneath all the jokes, there was truth. Cold, uncomfortable, and undeniable. Porter's ambition isn't the problem. Her attitude is, she wants to lead but doesn't want to connect. She craves authority, not approval. And in the long run, that's what kills charisma faster than any scandal ever could.
To be the Democrat nominee, and then from there, you just look at the voting. And by the way, I think it's close. I think the Republican candidate crosses 40, which would be unusual. But I would say, what if you see like a 57-41-3, because Green Libertarian? Mm-hmm. You see something like that, suddenly you realize that there's a shift.
So now, every time California voters see another Porter ad, they won't just see a candidate. They'll see the ghost of Large Marge, the embodiment of every lecture they never asked for. They'll hear the faint echo of Tyrus's voice reminding them that leadership without warmth is just power in disguise. They'll remember Greg's reverse charisma theory every time she scolds instead of inspires. In a state that once dreamed big, maybe that's exactly what it needs, a reminder to laugh again. Because sometimes calling it like it is doesn't just expose hypocrisy, it restores balance. Katie Porter wanted to rule California with conviction, but instead, she gave the country a reason to laugh. Maybe that's the real takeaway here. Never pick a fight with someone who's better at punchlines than policies.